Jason is here.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and today I went down to Los Angeles, waited in line for a long time because it's what I do. It's what I've always had to do. I never get the good treatment, so that's fine. I don't care. It allows me to keep it independent, keep it honest. So, yeah, so I saw the first two episodes of The Acolyte at the Egyptian tonight. I did my best to make a few notes so that way I could tell you what happens in the episode. So if you don't want spoilers, there will be spoilers. So you probably shouldn't watch this one, you know? Just some general thoughts up front. I'm like really mixed positive. On one hand, without being too spoilery, I would say imagine if you made Qui-Gon Jinn twice as cool, but you made Obi-Wan Kenobi twice as dry and kind of irritating. And then you made like that the Jedi. And it's like there's a lot to love and there's a lot to like get a little bit annoyed at. But overall, it's definitely, I would give it probably like a B plus. So like up front, I'm just going to start kind of getting into a little bit of the spoilers here. Essentially, we open up with that scene that we had from the clip of May attacking Indara, and in the opening of the show, it's pretty much we see like the opening of the show has like a title card. It's just like before the Empire, all that stuff, what you would expect. It's in the blue text. Kind of reminds me of kind of how Solo's opening was in a way. And then we just see May walking into that bar where that fight goes on. That fight we saw in the clip was a little edited. There was more stuff to it, little bits, little tiny things. But she basically shows up and is like, Indara. It's kind of funny. She shows up in every May shows up in like every fight, like, all right, attack me. And the Jedi are just like looking at her like every time, like, what? No, I'm not gonna do it, man. And then she has to like kind of start the fight. And so May just starts beating the hell out of everybody in the room. She starts, beating up all of the patrons and tries to kill a girl, which I think we saw in the clip. And it's the action's very good. It's like really solid. And in this version, or in this story, Indara is like doesn't want to kill her, is like, and then but she knows something's up. She's like, who trained you? And she won't tell her. So then she kills her, but she kills the Jedi by tricking her. She throws a knife at the bartender, and the knife is like being held with the Force, like right here. Meanwhile, May stabs her with the second knife, killing her, and she like falls to the ground, and then she is dead. And then we cut over to the other sister, Osha, and Osha is working on a Trade Federation ship. Just a little tiny detail. They call them the Trade Fed. They're like the I thought that was kind of made sense, like in universe kind of thing about how they would, what they would call the Nemodians. The Nemodians, they did a pretty good job of giving them a very like over the top, in essence, the same kind of voice that Newt Gunray had, without making it like a Asian World War II stereotype or a Japanese World War II stereotype for that matter. And so it works. I thought it was the best choice that you could probably do. George Lucas thought accents were funny, whatever. So anyways, it turns out that at this time they're not allowed to go outside the ship and do like a spacewalk, like in like the spacesuits. Only droids are supposed to do it, but the Trade Federation is having May and her buddy do it. And later on, I'm going to forget this detail, but we see that I'm sorry, not May, Osha. And Osha has like a tattoo on her arm. I think that's going to come into play later, but it doesn't really matter early on. And so the Jedi show up, on the Trade Federation ship, right? It's Yord Fandor and his Padawan, and that they both that from that one clip where we see them like in their white formal Jedi gear. We saw it like on a TV spot, I think. They walk down and they're like, where is where's Osha? And the Trade Federation's lying. They're like, no, we don't have any of that here. Why would we have a Jedi here? Why would that be here? That doesn't make any sense. And then Yord starts to probe into his mind, and then the other lady Nemodian's like, yeah, they're on floor 4 or whatever she says. So then they go, and May comes back from the spacewalk, right? And right as she opens the door, Yord is in her room, and she's like, homie, hey, it's been a long time. And then he's like, no, I'm here to arrest you. And May goes willingly, though. She's like, you could tell that May is sorry, I keep saying May, I apologize. Osha, he's there to arrest Osha. Osha goes willingly. And I was in line for like 8 hours today, so my brain is a little bit fried, guys. I apologize. But anyways, we go back to the Jedi Temple. This is where we see Coruscant, and and Saul is training the kids. Vanestra Rose shows up to tell him that his former Padawan is the one who killed Indara, and he doesn't really believe it. And they have little moments throughout the show where, like, he has like a hologram of Osha, and like his Padawan is like, hey, why are you doing that? Like, isn't that attachment? Isn't that wrong? And he's like, well, we can learn from the past. So he kind of uses their own rhetoric against them, I guess. Kind of pulls a little bit of an Anakin, I guess we're encouraged to love, that whole thing. So anyways, we then cut back to Osha in a prison ship, because they're transporting her back to Coruscant that way. Yord Fandor, worst Star Wars name of all time, did not take her personally in, which is like obviously a mistake. But what happens is she's on the ship, and there's this guy. It's weird. He has like a parasite on his face, almost like an alien face hugger, And she asked like some of the guys in the prison, like, what's up with that? What's up with that? And he's like, oh, they use that to sedate him because he's a really dangerous criminal. And then she's like, okay. And then they're like, hey, we're gonna break out. Do you want to come with us? And she's like, no, I don't want to. You're gonna die. The Jedi are gonna find you, and you're gonna die. Meanwhile, homeboy's still on the ground. There's this like alien guy, like robot man. I don't know what you call him. You know what I mean? I don't know what is. He reminds me of, that guy who they were saying was Dengar from episode 9. That like Vin Diesel looking kind of guy. He's sort of like that. Not exactly, but close. And he's doing something. He like is like messing with the robots. I can't remember exactly how it happens. One guy has like a tongue or something, like a Jar Jar kind of tongue or something. I can't remember how this happened. There's like some alien appendage, and like it like knocks the droid. They end up basically disabling the droids. They pull off the droid's arm, and they use that as the handprint to open the cells. And then so they all start getting out. She's still trapped in there though, and the guy's still on the floor, like asleep with the parasite on his face. And they get into the escape pod and they bone out. She ends up like she has this little droid named Pip. And early on, by the way, when she's on the spacewalk, there's like a fire on the ship that she has to put out. And that little droid's like a catch-all kind of thing. He has like a little fire extinguisher. He's kind of like the get out of jail free card for the plot in a way. But at the same time, it's all just like, he's a Swiss Army knife of Star Wars stuff. And it's never like egregious so far. Maybe it will be though over time, but in the first two, he's fine. Just a couple of moments with the droid where it's like beep boop bop, and then she's like, hey, oh, blah 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 blah, and people in the audience were like, oh my god, it's so funny. Honestly though, it was like the 100th time I've seen Star Wars do this, and I don't care anymore. So the fans liked it though. I was done. The droid's fine, but you know, it's about as good as the one Leia had in Kenobi. You know, it's like fine, but it's not memorable. And so far, anyways, I'm not really sold on it. Uh, anyways, though, then we end up going, and May is like in the ship, and the ship's going down. It's in space. Remember, the gang has already gotten to the escape pod and taken off. And so she basically like tries to use the force to grab her droid, and she goes to do it and she can't do it. But then I think she also is like reluctant to do it. She doesn't want to. And then the ship like hits some rocks, some asteroids or something, and it like teeters, and then the droid slides down. She grabs it and uses that to like make her way out of the prison cell. And as she's about to get to the escape pod, she sees the guy on the floor with the thing on his face, and she's like, "Oh man," you know. She is like kind of a Jedi in essence still. You know, that influence is still felt throughout the whole story. And so she goes and she pulls the face hugger off the guy. It starts like running around like the top of the ship and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's fine. And he gets up, freaks out, runs to the escape pod and takes off. So now she's screwed. She's like on the ship and she's just gonna die, is what she thinks anyways. She gets her little droid Pip. She like straps herself into the safety harness of the ship, and like, you know, puts her hands like over her head, and then crashes onto the ice planet. Now this is where it gets like a little bit trippy, and this is where it gets a little dyad-y. I'm not saying they're a dyad. I don't know. I know Arya is probably will be in here later or tomorrow. She'll be like, is it a dyad? I don't know. Probably not, but it gets dyad-y. Okay, if that makes sense. She's basically she steps out of the ship into the outside, and then she sees May as a child run out of the ship. She follows the kind of like almost like following the rabbit, you know. She follows the her sister out, and then like her sister like recites this like poem to her. I can't remember what it is. It's not really a poem, it's more like a nursery rhyme kind of thing. This cute little thing between them, I guess. And as she's like following her, and she ends up like seeing fire and stuff. Oh yeah, and when she was fixing the fire on the ship outside when she was doing that walk, she sees fire and she starts like freaking out. She's like, "Bruh," you know. She almost has that siren going in her head, like from Kill Bill kind of thing, you know, like the post-traumatic stress is just like hitting her. And so then we have this moment right here where now she's following her sister out. And this is sort of like the first hint that her sister's alive and that her sister's the one doing the evil stuff. And it's the kid version of her though, because she obviously hasn't seen the adult version of her sister, even though they're twins. But whatever, it's fine. It's not like a thing. It's like a mystical moment. And they do a good thing, like where like, you know, like the overhead light like kind of like comes down, and then you're like on like a different set. You're like in a different place, you know. And I hope that makes sense. But she's actually having a dream. She like wakes up. She was knocked out unconscious in her ship the whole time. And this whole sequence right here is like really good. And so anyways, we go back to Vanestra Rowe is talking to Saul, and she's like, "Hey, oh, by the way, Vanestra Rowe, dude, I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be real about it with you. Painting a lady green and calling it a day, it doesn't work. It's not good enough. I know they thought they were going generic Star Wars with it. Like, oh my God, those green people. No, Greedo's generic Star Wars. Tropey and silly. This is just painting a lady green. And it doesn't work. But anyways, the character works though. The character is fine. The character herself like is fine. Like I don't have any problems with her. But we kind of start to see, I think, a little bit of the cracks of the Jedi from the Phantom Menace, because she's like, look, somebody killed. Now we know somebody killed that Jedi, and it wasn't a former, so it was some outsider. And Saul and her agree it's gonna make their enemies more powerful. It's gonna like embolden their enemies or something to that effect. And but that's right there we see, oh, these people care about PR. They're a little bit they're assholes. They ain't real. You know what I mean? And that's gonna, I think that plays in later into the story too. I think we're gonna see that these people are not very the Jedi in the story aren't very honest. They care more about themselves and their reputation, so than doing the right thing. So just to reiterate really quickly, so that in case you're lost, May attacks Indara. May throws the knife at the alien bartender, and as she's a she saves the Jedi. Indara saves the bartender. May at the end, by the way, goes and looks at the bartender and then is about to kill him, and then sees he has a little kid. Is an alien, by the way. And they don't do the, oh, I'm an alien. They kind of like found a better happy medium. So I was kind of happy about that. But she sees the kid, and by the way, that's when we see that May, she's evil, but she's not that evil. You know what I mean? She's not all the way there. Excuse me. I just had some in and out really quickly on the way home. So anyways, so then Yord Fandor shows up to arrest Osha. Osha goes with the Jedi. Sol is training the kids. Vanessa Rose, like your former Padawan, killed Indara. Then we have her getting transported, Osha getting transported, the alien, Dengar and the Lizard Man take out the droids. There's a whole escape sequence, okay? So then she crashes on the ice planet. So here's where we get to the new stuff that I haven't told you guys about yet. The gang that was on the ship, they've been caught. They didn't get far. They got caught like really quick. And that's how they know to go find Osha on that ice planet. And Osha, you remember how she was having that like hallucination where she was like following her sister? She finds herself like waking up in the snow. And I think that's how it goes. And then so she starts wandering around the planet just trying to find like, what am I gonna do, you know? And then she gets to that precipice that we see where she says, and then Saul and his Jedi homies show up, and she's like, I didn't do it. And she goes to slip and she falls, and then Saul catches her. And then he pulls her back up. And then she's like, I didn't do it. And then he's like, I believe you. And so that's when we have the first thing that we know that Saul is the coolest Jedi with these losers. You know, these guys all suck. And so anyways, yeah, he believes her. And then we cut back to May. Now really quickly, we gotta have a little bit of theory time here, just a little tiny bit. Okay. I don't know that this Kimar guy or Kimir, he's this like sleazy kind of guy, and she finds him when she first meets him. He's like taking over a guy's bar. He killed like a potion shop, and he killed the owner and just was running it now. And she's just like, what the hell, dude? You know? And he's like drunk. He's like sleeping drunk, you know, a little dark. So I'm pretty sure when all is said and done, this guy is playing like Yoda did to Luke in Empire Strikes Back. I think this guy's pretending to be this like merchant sleazebag, but he's really the Sith Lord. That's what I think. There's a moment when he even like quotes the Jedi or the Sith code to her about how, peace is a lie. And then when the Sith Lord says stuff, it really does seem like this is where it's going. There's no smoking gun here. That's why it's my theory. Take it as you will. But anyways, she's like, okay, I want to go kill this other Jedi. He's like, good luck, homie. And he's like, oh, don't use weapons because the big boss, your master doesn't want you to. And she's like, she goes, and so she finds this guy, and he's like floating, right? And she tries to like punch him or like throw stuff at him, and he just has this like force field completely around him. She can't do anything to him, and it's like he's like in a Jedi temple, and I heard one criticism of the show was like all the Jedi on the councils and stuff like that are just humans. It's not the council from. I don't think it's the council from like the High Council. I think it's just like these are just like Jedi like little things. You know, it was a fat Jedi, a little fat guy. He reminded me of that guy from Game of Thrones. You know, the one that like has that inbred chick with the baby. Kind of remind me of that guy a little bit. But anyways, what was I saying? Where was I at? Oh yeah. So she can't kill the guy, right? So she goes back to Kimir, whatever the hell his name is. Excuse me. And he's like, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, well, I want you to make this like poison for me, this like drink or whatever. And then they put poison in it. Now this is where I failed you, Senator. I'm sorry on this one. Well, she shows up and she's like, hey, it's me. Let's make things right. And then that's when the Jedi wakes up. And I guess he hasn't spoken or done anything in 10 years. He's just been floating there for 10 years. And she's like, you can either drink this or you can go to the Jedi Council and confess. And the guy picks up the little shot glass of little vial of stuff and he drinks it and then he dies. And I don't know if he was committing suicide rather than telling the Jedi Council what he did, or was he thinking it was actually atonement based off of her culture, because we learned that drink was from her home planet and it's like a special thing. So I'm not completely positive why it went that way. Okay. Sorry, just the way it is, you know. I got to watch this one view, and anyways, so Kamir makes that poison. She kills the Jedi. Meanwhile, the Osha and the gang catch up to the dead Jedi. They go to that temple. They're like, he hasn't talked in 10 years. And Saul's like, hey, he's my friend. He'll talk to me. And then they go in there and they're like looking for him. I don't know why the Jedi have a hard time finding him, because he's just been floating in the same place for 10 years. But apparently they don't know where to go. And Osha does. She goes right to him. And then everybody walks in the room and they're like, oh, Osha, you killed again. And she's like, no, man, I didn't do it, you know. But then Yord Fondor steps out and he's like, I was shadowing her the whole time. She didn't do it. We walked into the room and this guy was already dead. So that's when May is like, that's when Osha is cleared. And that's when they know that May's alive. Like that her twin sister isn't dead for sure. That's like that's the proof that gang needs. That little gang of Jedi, you know? So they don't know what to do, but they know that they talk to the fat Jedi, and he's like looking and he's like, hey, I don't know who that guy is in the potion shop. That guy's new. He's not supposed to be here. He's not one of us. And they're like, okay, that must be the accomplice who made the poison. They're like, yeah, that definitely is. There's kind of a funny scene. I don't want to tell it because I'll tell it incorrectly, but basically Yord Fondor has this convoluted plan, and then Jeki has a much more pragmatic plan, and that's just that they're going to send Osha in with her little droid, and he's going to pretend to be her sister May. She's going to pretend to be May, and they're going to record the confession. And so she does. She goes in there. She shows up. He's like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing back?" He's like, "Whoa, you look weird." He's like, "What's going on here? Like something's up." And then he admits that he made the poison. And then they basically get the confession again. So now Osha is double cleared. Like it's everybody knows Osha didn't do it. Osha's in the clear now. And they decide that they're going to use that as the wait for that to basically capture her. And Saul goes to confront her. May doesn't. Osha doesn't go to confront May, just Saul. So, and as everything, so that's where we have that scene from the clip that we saw where Saul is like he meets May in the like that like courtyard area from the Bespin Bulletin aerial drone shot he got, and they start kind of like she starts like trying to hit him. He's like a master. He's just like doing that, kind of stuff. She goes to get like her like little knives out. He's already taken them off of her belt before she even knows that he did. And he's like, "Who trained you? Who trained you?" And she's like, and then he gets into her mind. And she's like, "Get out of my mind, Jedi! Get out of my mind!" And then he's like, "Oh, so you don't even know who your master is? You have no clue." And that's when Saul knows that like shit's real. Something's going down here. Something isn't right. And then eventually, so they got Kamir. That the Jedi have arrested him, and then like Jecki for some reason shows up in this like ship, and has like a police light on May. And it's like you're surrounded, and then Yord Fondor comes out. And he's like, "Yeah, we got you," And it's all right. It was good. I mean, I like the second. This is all the second episode stuff, by the way, now, and so she's about to like get arrested, and then she does ninja vanish. She goes like does like a force push down on the ground, and when she does it, all the dirt like goes up and it goes into their eyes and their face, and then she like and then she's gone, and then we cut to like the next. Oh yeah, hold on. One thing I forgot. Somewhere in there in the ninja vanish moment. Oh yeah, no, she ninja vanishes, and then that's when the sisters finally meet each other. And what happens is May is running and a speeder pulls out and it hits her. She pretends to be hurt. When the driver of the speeder gets out to look on her, to check on her, she grabs him, knocks him down, and then gets into the speeder and drives off. And as she's about to go, that's when Osha steps out. May and Osha meet. They finally see each other, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And big detail I forgot. The whole time, Osha believes May burned her family up. Some big thing to forget, guys. Sorry about that, but that's what she thinks that her sister is dead, but that her sister burned down the whole village and killed everybody. And that's when she sees her, and then she takes out her gun and she aims it at her sister, and she fires him, but she misses on purpose. She doesn't shoot her. Saul sees it. He knows that she couldn't do it, and the whole time, her and Saul, like she left the Jedi Order 6 years ago. We learn in the show, and she left, and she can't let go of the past. And she was supposed to be. Osha was trained at 8 years old, like Anakin. She's like a little bit too old, or eight or nine, I can't remember, something like that. And but from the records of the Jedi Temple, it was missing that she had a twin sister, that May even lived or died. She's not in the record, and Vanestra Rode knows that. So then, anyways, she points the gun at her sister, misses. Her sister gets away, and her sister goes to Kamir to kill him. And then he's like, "Hey, before you kill me, I know where the Kelnaka, the Wookiee, is. I know where he's at. We could go kill him." And she's like, let's go. And then they take off, basically. That's he kind of like, earns his keep or whatever. And then we see like this like Wookiee planet with the giant Wookiee Jedi, and he's walking. Remember how we would see the Wookiee with his Jedi outfit on and no Jedi outfit on? That denotes two different eras. So pretty sure he's naked, and he's like the naked Wookiee in these scenes. And he has like this like hut. He's like retired. He's like a recluse, I guess. And remember that scoop I had about that Scoobius Pip guy? This is where we see him walk up to the Wookiee's house. It's just like digging through him and his partnership, like digging through their stuff. And then the Wookiee shows up, like basically scares them off. And then it goes inside. And so now they know where he's at. And then May lands on that on May then is on her way to go kill him. And then she steps out onto that beach planet, and the Sith guy is there, and he's like, the Jedi live in this they have this dream, but not everybody shares that dream. And that's like basically what he says. And then that's Then we cut to the Wookiee, and then we're like, oh, okay, so the Wookiee's gonna die, and the Sith Lord is probably already there, I think. So that's in essence the whole first two episodes. That's like the whole story. Um, they really play like Disney tropes of what a Jedi is. Like it felt a little bit like the Disneyland Jedis, Jedi like that you would see. Like they do this and all the shit. It's like very very tropey. But then you have like Saul is just like these guys are dorks. Like he's way more pragmatic and wise. And then Jackie makes like kind of fun of that guy a lot. So it kind of works. I think it works, but I'm not sold on 8 episodes of this um being like perfect. I don't know how this is going to play after 4 episodes. The third episode is like entirely a flashback. And then but once we get past that, but I don't know how it's gonna feel. But we do learn that those little bits from May that this is where the intrigue is. That Jedi who killed himself, either on purpose or an accident with the poison, he did something really bad at that village, and May wants to kill him for that, and that Jedi believes that he deserves to die for it. And then I think Saul, Indara, and Kelnaka helped cover it up somehow, And then Osha believes that May killed her whole family, but I don't think it goes that way. So we might kind of have an interesting turn here where Osha, if this is where it's going, Osha may end up turning on everybody in the end too, when she knows the actual truth. At least that's where I think it's going. And the show has really the music. The music is really prequel-y in a good way. Not Duel of the Fates, but like think of like the Camino music. You know what I mean? Like, the Obi-Wan Kenobi Camino music. It really was like a whole soundtrack of that kind of stuff. It was really good. It actually was really, really good. And then when we get to the actual like show itself as it's put together, it uses wipes just like the prequels did. It really felt like it matched. So there's a part of it that I really, really liked. And then the other part that I didn't like was like Vanessa Rowe looking like a Babylon 5 character. The Jedi are just a little bit corny. Everything that's bad about the Jedi in the prequels is definitely in this, but at the same time, everything that's good about the Jedi is also in this. And I don't think you could go, it's on purpose. I don't know. It's like basically like the trope of the Jedi versus actual like good written Jedis, but they're both there. So that stuff is cool. The Yord Fandor character, he's a dumbass. He's an asshole. He's a fucking dork, and he gets his ass handed to him by the characters constantly. So, he's a tryhard. And at first I didn't like him because of that. And then as it goes on, you start to see, oh yeah, this is actually a good dynamic. And I could see it paying off as the show goes on. And I really liked the stuff with the twins. It's very, very, operatic or whatever, but I really did like it. That stuff was very fun. It was very well done. Am I intrigued by the mystery of what the Jedi did, how it went so bad? Right now I am. Yeah. Right now that works because I'm like, but at the same time, I don't think it's so clear that is kind of what's going on. Some of the people I talked to on the way out didn't really pick up on that stuff. And I got a feeling that if if you don't catch that stuff, I don't know if the episodes work that well. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of if there's anything else that's like worth hitting on from it. Um, the Saul is a great character, really really strong. Osha and May are both really really well done heroes or villains, whatever. I don't really like that they gave them both the same haircut. I thought that was like a little bit weird. It's kind of weird that she would like go from like her home planet. I believe we're supposed to think this is like from her home planet. This is like her home planet's hair, right? Like hairstyle or some shit like that. But then she becomes a Jedi, and then they both have the same hair. That's a little bit weird. There's also a scene where Osha has the tattoo, and then he's like, Saul sees it and he's like, what's that? And she's like, oh, I had a really wild night with the crew and I got a tattoo. And then she's like, you don't like it, do you? And then he's like, it doesn't matter if I like it. So, there's like good moments between those two for sure. And I definitely like it. I wasn't blown away. It's not the second coming of Star Wars. It's not. If you've hated Star Wars for the last 5 years, this isn't going to change your mind. This also isn't going to. Well, let's put it this way. It does have Andor production value for the most part. But there's also times when you see like Andor production value and it kind of is sort of some of the moments do feel a little bit like Mando, like in the city, it steps out a little bit above Mando though, for what it's worth. It's not like flat like Kenobi exactly. Um, and Rob, I don't think is going to like the show, so we'll have to see. Maybe he will, and I'll be surprised. But it's definitely it definitely feels it suffers from feeling like film at times and then feeling like TV at other times. And that's the thing that I think keeps throwing Star Wars fans, is they don't know the difference between the films and TV. And when the TV or the TV stuff is high quality as a film, but then it's not consistent, it kind of makes you go, But I do think the Star Wars fans who are up right now to watch this show are probably mostly going to like it. And there's definitely more to like than not, Okay, so yeah, if you guys have like any like questions or whatever, or anything that I wasn't clear about or whatever, you want clarification, feel free to hit me up right now. Utility says, is there any hints of what they did or hints of other mysteries? All we know is that from the first 2 episodes that the fire breaks out and May thinks that, her family was burned up. There's like a moment in it, by the way, that I saw people trying to like maybe grift on when they mentioned that Osha's mothers were killed. And people are like, she's a lesbian. The mom's gay. The mom could be gay. The mom might be a lesbian. It could be that way, but these are also the witches. They're fucking witches. There's mothers. There's several mothers. So I don't think it means like my 2 dads, my 2 moms. I don't think it's like that necessarily. It's very inconclusive, but I imagine that tomorrow people will use that as something to freak out about. It's like a so what, But yeah, this right now though, once again, I feel like this would have been a cooler movie than some of the ideas that we've heard for the movies that they're doing right now. You know what I mean? A movie about the twins and all that kind of stuff. I think that would kind of be cooler. I think this would have been a good film. But it's a pretty good series so far. I've only seen 2 episodes. I know a ton of what happens in other stuff I can't hit on right now, or maybe ever. And some of it my friends have, and some of it some people told me I'm not supposed to say anything about. So I don't want to go too far and say anything else. But I do see like the seeds of things in these first 2 episodes that do come into fruition ever. I have no idea about Keanu Reeves, honestly. Um, it's possible, but I honestly don't know on that one. Sorry, man. I heard, yeah, I would say, there's always a possibility of it, but I can't tell you. And it's definitely not in the first two episodes, anyways, that I've seen. You know what I mean? Um, Cascadian says, I'm an unashamed prequel and High Republic fan. Will I be happy? Yeah, I don't see how, if you like both of those things, you would be unhappy. As a prequel fan myself, I loved a lot of it. There was a ton of it that where it was operating at that same kind of vibe, and it was very good, and it was very very high quality. Um, yeah, but the High Republic stuff that I've read, I didn't think really seemed to matter here from what I know of it. But I'm also not like crazy about it. Like I wasn't like obsessed with it. You know what I mean? So, Darren says, "What's the controversy in episode 3 about people are saying that will cause more discourse than the Last Jedi?" Someone mentioned it might be something to do with pronouns. Once again, I didn't see the third episode. I only saw the first two episodes, so I can't really say. Yeah, they said that people are saying that there's like a conversation about pronouns or something like that. I don't know. You know, I watched the Tales of the Empire, and there was like a pronoun scene. Other people got pissed off. I didn't even notice it. I mean, you know what I mean. So it's like I think the people that are going around looking for the culture war fight around every corner, they're gonna go find it anyways, whether it's there or not. You know. Yeah, and Thrawn, hey Thrawn, says episode 4 is pronouns is what they're saying. And that probably would be the case because the third episode is like, the flashback episode. So anyways, yeah, I had that Shogun. I had Daniel Craig cameoed as a regular stormtrooper, so maybe same for Keanu. Yeah, I had Daniel Craig and Mad Max for that matter. Went back when I was scooping. But yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's mentioned in the second episode. The girls' mothers were killed. Like your mothers were killed and you couldn't let it go. But once again, it's a coven of witches, so there's mothers. It doesn't mean that she has like two moms. That's what I was saying earlier. So it might, like I said, it might be that, might not be. But so far though, it's I definitely like it, but it has some of it just feels like I don't like the depiction of the Jedi in it, like your standard Jedi. I find it to be a little bit cringy at times on that front. So, and if the Jedi stuff that's cringy was handled better, I would be like, oh yeah, it's like I would give it an A minus probably, but for me it's like a B plus. But it is saved because Saul is cool. You know what I mean? Osha is a likable character, and Jackie is has a couple of quippy, fun parts. You know, and so it's not entirely like bad. It's not bad across the board, and a lot of it is your Fandor. You know what I mean? But he's also supposed to be a dork. But it's just the way it kind of plays out is a little bit, it wasn't to my taste. But I think like a lot of Star Wars fans probably won't give a shit. They probably won't care. Like people are like, that's fine. That's my hunch. So definitely gonna watch it again. I am definitely in on the series. I liked it enough that I will be covering it each week when there's new episodes. So I will watch it again and watch it, and then Rob and I will break it down. And I think Max might show up, and I invited Tom, who's the show is brought to you by Tom's Computer, by the way. But I think maybe he might have went to sleep. He's on the other coast, so it's like 3 hours ahead for him. So you know what I mean. Anyways, yeah, but I mean, let me look up the character list really quickly. Um, Yeah, Manny Jacinto as Khmer is he's good. He's good. I think he's the Sith Lord. When you guys see it, you guys could let me know what you think, okay? And then Carrie Ann Moss in the first two episodes, she's only in the first scene, she dies. She's going to be in flashback scenes, obviously, in the later episodes. Jackie Lon, Daphne Keene's character, definitely good. She's Saul's Padawan. She plays, she's a bit dry at first, but then as she goes, she has like a lot of personality, and it definitely works. We only have one shot of Kelnaka. Vanessa Rowe, I've already said I wasn't a big fan. Jord Fandar is he's good though. I mean he's a good foil. Or is that am I using that right? He's good. They get to make fun of him. So I kinda like that about him. Stenberg is good. The characters feel like two different characters for what it's worth. And then I don't think I saw Tovin yet. I don't think he really had anything to do. But May and Saul and their like relationship, friendship, past is intriguing, and there's a lot to move on. You know, there's a lot to explore there, I think. So it's a good start. It's definitely a really good start. So any cool aliens? So yeah, I mean there was like I said, there was the face hugger thing. There was like the robot man in the ship. That like there was aliens in the prison cell with her, you know, or in the other cell next to her. When we get into the cities, a lot of the times you will see a bunch of humans, but then and by the time you're like, there's too many humans, an alien will, like a cool alien will like walk by. And for the most part, they were good. The aliens, you know, the bar is populated with interesting aliens during that fight. And definitely it doesn't have the problem that we saw with some of the Southern California productions where there's like no aliens at all. It was definitely better, you know. Hey Griffin, he says, please, for the love of God, can the Sith Lord be a menacing alien and not an old man with white hair? Yeah, I'm right now. My question is, if my theory is correct and Khmer is the Sith Lord, is the other guy is that him in his Sith costume? Does he Batman it up, or does he just have another homie? You know what I mean? Does he have an apprentice? Because one thing that I've considered, and it's probably not accurate, but the Sith Lord may not have an apprentice. And he may not just be like, oh, I don't have an apprentice. You're my apprentice now. It might be, I don't have an apprentice. You're an acolyte until I know you're worthy to be my apprentice. That could be the case in this show as well. I'm not totally sure, you know? Um, do the Jedi feel competent? Yes. Yeah, I would say so. They are continually solving mysteries, coming up with plans that work, and they definitely feel heroic. Jord Fandor, like I said, is a tryhard. He doesn't feel competent, but he is competent. But he feels like sort of a dumbass, so kind of like a dumbass cop in a way. You know what I mean? He's like the dumbass rookie kind of thing. But he is a Jedi Knight, and he does have like a Padawan. So you know what I mean? It goes like that. And then Jason, oh, glad you're back. Thanks, man. Yeah, yeah. I just needed a little bit of a break. You know, the character was dry, so not Qui-Gon's pants. Got it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Not Liam Neeson's pants. Um, like Saul is very much a Qui-Gon Jinn style character, though, in the sense that, you know, he sees things for what they are and he reads things accurately. He doesn't seem to let protocol dictate how he's going to read a situation. He even at one point tells Osha to have faith that May's going to do the right thing and that May's not that evil, essentially. And so he's a good guy, you know, a really good character. So, hey, Spreezy, anyone know how many more hours until it releases? Well, from what I understand, I think it comes out 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow, but I'm not positive and I haven't scheduled anything out. So I don't know exactly when I'm going to cover it. I need to talk to Rob and stuff like that and figure out what we're going to do. Yes, it is 6 PST. Okay. So it'll be out tomorrow, 6 Pacific Standard Time. So yeah. And yeah, I think you're right too, Skywalker's Academy. That's what I thought too. I just didn't want to misspeak, but that's what I was told. And on this show, I think in a way, obviously they want to keep the subscriber count for the whole month, you know, for 2 months is what they want to get out of it. I almost wish they had just dropped 4 episodes and then dropped the second 4. I would be probably happier with a part 1 and a part 2. Um, but I don't know the rest of the series entirely, so I can't say for certain if that's the right way to go. But that was the only thing I about my experience was it was like, okay, and when we get to the next, and then it's just done. And I think the show is going to be a much better watch all in a row. So I think if you're somebody who does not like the week to week, I would probably just wait and watch it later. I need that light whip. I don't think we saw that today, by the way. Yeah, we didn't see it. So I think that must be coming in episode 3, maybe when we get to the flashback about what happened at the village, you know? Tyrant, I'm with you, man. I 100%. He says, Tyrant says, I can't hear OSHA without thinking someone just violated a rule by pulling up yellow tape and not putting on a safety vest. Yeah, that's what I keep thinking as well. I remember too, like for years having to say, people would make these fake rumors about what was going to happen at Disneyland, what Star Wars land was going to be, but we knew about certain OSHA regulations that meant that certain things couldn't be done in certain ways. And like the people mover, like tracks and stuff, like they couldn't be used. And so I had to say that so long that like OSHA comes into my mind for that too. So yeah, it is hard to keep their like names, May and OSHA for some reason after just this one watch. It was kind of like hard for me to keep them separate, you know? No, the light whip is not in the first 2 episodes. I don't think we see, I think we see it in the 3rd episode is my estimation is it will be in the flashback of the 3rd episode because it's a flashback episode. And I also think that's when Indara will come back. And I think Vanessa Rowe uses it probably there. And we see Vanessa Rowe, like I said, did not want anything getting out. She didn't want bad PR for the Jedi. She didn't want to empower their enemies. So I think shit goes south in that village somehow with the witch. I know I don't want to make my friend mad, so I can't say anything more. But I know what happens in the next episode, and I like it. It sounds really cool. Maybe that person will share with us. I gotta talk to them, so we'll see. See how I played the pronoun game. Anyways, yeah, someone asked, did the lightsabers look bad or whatever? I don't think so. I didn't, I never liked that shot where they're all lined up with lightsabers, all together. I'm not a fan of that. If you like that, then cool. But we don't see that much lightsaber use in this part of the story. It's like they're going with that idea that they use martial arts more at this time because they're not like attacking other people with laser swords and stuff. And there is a moment where it kind of explains it in the opening with Indara when she has her lightsaber finally out, and May's like, "You have your lightsaber out. Jedi only pull their lightsaber out to kill. So by the time the lightsaber comes out, that's when they need it to kill, and then that's when May uses that as her reason to screw her over, So the Acolyte is another prequel that explains the return of the Sith prior to Phantom Menace. Any reference to Darth Tenebrous? So the one thing that I think people need to know about the show and need to understand up front is May doesn't even know who the Sith is. She has no fucking clue. She's completely in the dark about it. And when Saul reaches into her mind, he's like, "Hey, you don't know who you work for, do you?" And so that's why you're not going to get any references to anything. All we see is that Sith on the beach from that shot. The shot that we saw of him like on the beach, like of him standing. That's all I've seen so far in the show in the second episode. He's only like in that very end moment. And yeah, Griffin, there's not an opening crawl, but there's some blue words on the screen that go like before the Galactic Empire and blah blah, before the Menace and shit like that. So yeah, so yeah, yeah. And once again, we don't. I think I agree with Skywalker's Academy here that the Sith do not reveal themselves to the Jedi until the Phantom Menace, and I think that's probably true. But in this story, I'm going to guess that Jedi will meet them, will meet the Sith, and the Sith are just going to kill them. So they're never going to get to go tell anybody when they do find them. And I think we might. I think we're going to see something from that next week. But it's good. It's definitely good. It's not a bad start. Some of the stuff that irritates me like early on or that makes me a little bit uneasy, like I said before, I'm more worried about it over 8 episodes. In these first 2 episodes, I don't think anything is so egregious that it means it's bad and it's going to stay bad and the show's bad. At the same time, if you keep doing some of the stuff and some of the cheesy Jedi kind of shit like over and over again, yeah, I think I'm going to lose my patience with it, That will probably happen. Any new droids? There's just Pip. We see a power droid on the Trade Federation ship walking around. We see the 2 new droids who are the prison droids that are taking Osha to prison, that fly the ship and are the guards. We see them, and I'm trying to think of. They're kind of like the Mando droids in a way. I think they're a different design though. The prison Mando droids for the Republic, but they're a different design. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I think maybe if you wanted to be overly critical in the crowd scenes, you don't really see droids. I don't remember seeing any. It doesn't mean my memory is correct here though. Like I said, I had to wait in line for like 8 hours to get to this today. Is there much of the Sith Lord in the first 2 episodes? Were you impressed with it? No, there's like no Sith Lords in the first episode. There's just that one shot of him going, "Hey, the Jedi have a dream and we don't believe in the dream." And so, yeah, there's not a lot of it. Like I said, she doesn't even know what he is. She doesn't know who she works for. So she doesn't know if it's Plagueis or if it's Darth Tenebris or any of that. She has no clue what the guy, I don't know if she knows his name. So, but, we're going to learn a couple of interesting things next week, I think. But anyways, yeah, I'm trying to think there's a new droid, at least one. Yeah, there's that the little Pip guy, and he's just like it's almost like Pip is like a Swiss Army knife if it talked to you. Is how I would describe it. But I didn't love it. No mention of Yoda at all. No mention. I don't think they mentioned like the High Council. When we get to the planet, we see like some Jedi who are like in like the monastery kind of place, and that's where the fat Jedi guy is. And May pays off a kid to like sneak her into the temple or whatever, and then that kid gets caught. But yeah, not really a lot though. No Damask holdings, none of that. Absolutely none of it. None at all. There is absolutely no hints or even clues that I could pick up on of anything from the Darth Plagueis novels or any of that kind of stuff. In my opinion, that stuff is going to probably be irrelevant. My guess is this story might amount to how one of the sisters becomes the actual Sith apprentice. And just my opinion, based off of the dramatic nature of the show so far, everybody thinks it's going to be May, but it's going to be Osha. I think Osha's this is my theory, is as the series goes on, Osha is going to find out exactly what happened, and that's going to make her angrier in a way that she, and with her inability to let things go, will probably make her more of a formidable force than May. And the other thing about May is she's really pissed off. She really wants revenge. But also remember, she wants revenge for her sister's death. And she just saw her sister's alive. So I would imagine that would make her a more conflicting character as the story goes on, you know? And Skywalker Academy says it could be a mask controlling someone like in Shadow of the Sith. I mean, it's possible. Like I said, I'm of the opinion though that Khmer is the actual Sith master, and that big guy is the Sith apprentice, and that she will eventually kill the Sith apprentice, and then Khmer will be like, "Yeah, you're more than an acolyte," you know. And I also think that if it goes that way, she has to figure out that Khmer has been playing her, and she has to put it all together and prove that she's clever enough to have done it. That's where I hope this goes. Um, and that's where I'm betting it's gonna go, you know. Banking clans, nah, none of that. We see kind of a lot of worlds in it, you know. I don't remember the world's names, and a couple of times Soul says it, and he says it with his accent, so it's like Soul saying like a weird planet name, and I was like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to reiterate this on the show. I know that, you know. So um I Baby Snoodles and a Kid Lobot. Yeah, yeah. The actual episode's called Kid Lobot, you know. And then we see how Snice Noodles got her start, you know. But Osha is secretly the person under the mask. No, definitely not. Uh, she's there's a scene or a moment with her that I liked where she's like I can't remember what her job is called, but you know she's like a tech, and the Jedi are like, why do you do this job? And she's like, I quit being a Jedi 6 years ago, and those skills don't exactly transfer, you know. So yeah, but no, I don't think that would be the twist from it, to be honest with you. Are there any legacy aliens like Twi'lek, Togruta? Um, I'm actually not sure. I felt like the aliens that we saw were like more like big ones, like the guy, you know, like that big monster guy from Andor. Remember on Andor when he meets those guys like on the beach at the end, you know, that part? I think it was like kind of some of those guys and stuff, you know. Um Darren says, does it look like it deserved a bigger budget than the Kenobi show? The budget was crazy for this show. They went all in. Um, I think it pays off. Yeah, I think the budget is seen. It feels like a Star Wars prequel. The editing style is very much in line with the prequels, and I do appreciate it. So Thrawn's all, that's my DJ name, Kid Lobot. But yeah. Hey Soundwave, having a good time? Yeah, yeah. I'm having a good one. I had a good day. The screening was, you had to be 14 or over to go, and my son wanted to go, and so I took Luke with me, and we put a mask on him, like a COVID mask, you know, and we were just like, you know, but nobody said anything, nobody questioned it, and he got in. But the whole day it was like stressful because I really wanted to get him into the screening, you know. And I'm looking forward to the next episode of the show when you guys have all seen it, and we could talk about, you know, what we're all on the same page. You know what I mean? But the budgets are pretty comparable, but a lot of budget for Kenobi was wasted on starting in the EU and moving to the US. That's a theory. I don't know if that's exactly true. I know that there was some like builds that went on, but at the same time, it wasn't like they built every set in the UK, but they did have to ship a lot of shit over too. So there is that. Um, I think that this show, for the most part, so far feels well. The effects feel. I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. This show feels like Andor meets Ahsoka, but the good parts of Ahsoka. But also, I wouldn't say it's like as visually strong as Andor. Um, but it's a martial arts show, and that's the thing that I'm curious how Star Wars fans take. Um, it's because Star Wars fans, some of them are going to be like, this is tropey, and then other Star Wars fans aren't going to know the tropes and think this show invented it and it's the best thing ever. I don't know where it's going to fall, and I think it might depend on your age, where how they take it, But so Spreezy says from the first two episodes, do you think you will enjoy it more than Mando 3? Yes, it's definitely better than Mando 3. I think it's better than Mando 3 so far. The thing about it, though, that I would say is the first episode is way suckier than the second episode. And I think that the first episode being suckier is going to have people that have already written the tweets and come to their conclusions that the whole show is crap. And I would say watch the first two together, then make up your mind. Don't just do the one and then go, because I was when the first episode ended, I was not sold. And when the second episode ended, I was way more intrigued. But I also wasn't, like I said, entirely satisfied. I don't feel right giving it like a B minus. And I feel like it's a B plus, but that might be recency bias. I also saw it in a movie theater. In the movie theater, it held up though. It looked really good in the movie theater, but I did see it like under ideal circumstances. And so I might feel differently when I watch it at home. It might look better at home. I don't know. I'm not sure how that's gonna play. But um it's definitely, like I said, like a martial arts show, Kung Fu martial arts, or Walker Texas Ranger, Kung Fu martial arts. Like it's completely like on form. The action is really, really good. It does. It reminds me of some of it reminds me of those like 70s Jackie Chan kind of stuff a little bit too. There's a little bit of wire work in it. And I'm not George Lucas wasn't crazy about wire work. I'm not completely crazy about it either. But the wire work that they do use is well done. So if you like wire work, I think it's the few moments that we have were well done. Um, I obviously saw this in a theater full of Star Wars fans. So there were certain times when they were laughing at shit that wasn't even that funny because they're just like kind of in the cult. But then there was also other moments where like they actually like clapped from the action, and I was like that it felt legit, you know. So, is there a Star Wars episode? I feel that is what Raw wants. No, it's not. There's not really a war in this one. There's no war outbreaking or anything like that. This is just simply um, the Jedi. It sounds like to me the show is about Jedi who messed up this girl's lives and messed with these like this village, and something goes wrong, and then they covered it up, and that's made the one sister really mad, and the other sister just left the Jedi Order because she didn't fit in there. So, um, Darren says the trouble is so many fans have written the show off already over Leslie Headland's comments. The actor saying Anakin blew up the Death Star and just the general controversy around the show. Yeah, that kind of stuff is like really silly to me. Um, yeah, how did the guy say it wrong twice? I don't know. That to me is just like, oh man, why didn't somebody correct him? But I think it's just like me in this episode saying May when I mean to say, OSHA 15 times, 1,500 times probably in this episode already. And it doesn't matter that the guy knows Star Wars. The best Star Wars that we've ever had for the most part were from people who don't know it. Alec Guinness didn't know it. Peter Cushing didn't know it. Harrison Ford didn't know it. They made it up because that's what actors do. Is the acting good? Yeah, it's pretty good. The Jedi writing is a little bit dry. There's a couple of times when the lines are feel a little prequely, I would say. Prequel fans are gonna have a problem with the show. At least they like shouldn't, you know. So Griffin says signing off so that I can still go in surprise, but good to see you streaming again. Yeah, good to see you too, Griffin. Always like it when you stop by, man. August says on original story, not complaining, just pointing it out. Looking forward to how they handle it. Um, you know what? I would say it's very over the top, but I think it's good. Like I like this kind of stuff. I like this like the original Star Wars stuff of the whole you have a sister, twin sister, and all that kind of stuff. This is like that. So if you don't like that stuff, then you won't like this one. But if you are into that stuff, I think this is more in that wheelhouse and something that was been missing from Star Wars for like a very long time, you know? And I feel like the martial arts in this was much better than what we got in Ahsoka so far, which is good and bad, you know. Darren Ferguson says at least the grifters can still use the hate for the show and get more content at it and sell more sabers. Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing though. Is I don't know. I don't. All of that noise is just it's side shit. I like personally from my angle, like I was like in line and for the record, this person was nice as far as I can tell and everything like that. But there were people that were just like all going off about like inclusion and shit, and it's just like cool, but you know, does it really matter? You know, does it matter in this instance with this show? Because it's not the theme of the story isn't inclusion and representation. So they put a lot of good people in it though. And I liked it. I thought it was really good. But I'm so burnt out on the boring ass culture war people on both sides of it. It's so draining and stupid. And I honestly, if you want me to call you they or he or she or whatever, I'll do that gladly, out of respect for you for what you want to be called. Do I give a shit? I don't fucking care. I don't care. And like, if you want to put it in your Twitter bio, I definitely don't give a fuck because I'm never gonna address you that way anyway. So it's like all of that stuff. It's fucking nonsense. And the way that the internet goes is you have people that are making money off of both sides of it, and they're the ones that are going to keep it going as long as it's, you know, it could be played, and that's what they're doing. You know, the guys calling people soy boy, it's like fucking in 2024 when they've been doing it since 2027. It's just like, you know, who gives a fuck? I mean, if there's anything more boring than bad Star Wars, it's the fucking bad Star Wars culture war people. You know what I mean? And so yeah, so I just don't. So that's why I just checked out of that whole culture. All of them could all fuck off. You know, it's on par with the prequels. Yeah, it is. It is. This is very very much like the Star Wars prequels. I'd say. I think prequel fans should be happy about this one. Just feels like it to me. And then Star Wars about aliens. George reminded us of that in that interview at cons. Yeah, yeah. There was somebody in line when I was there today, and they're like, it took Star Wars like 50 years to like finally get inclusive. Well, we're here, and I was just like, I don't know, man. Like, not saying that it couldn't do better, okay? But the Star Wars prequels weren't exactly. It wasn't like the fucking stormtroopers were like white guys. You know what I mean? It wasn't like Mace Windu was a white guy, and it went on. You know, the inclusion process didn't happen overnight. It started very very white, very homogenous, and then it slowly did change with the times. At least that's my reading of it. Somebody could do the math on it if they care. But I don't care. Rob says, I heard the villain's name was Darth Inclusion. Can you confirm? Yeah. I think it's Darth Lesbianus, I think was the character's name. But yeah, and I don't give a shit about anything that Leslie Headland's saying that they're getting mad about too. It's usually stupid shit. And it actually usually doesn't matter. And everything that everybody's talking about from this and trying to make into a thing didn't matter in the episodes I just watched. Absolutely did not matter. Absolutely had nothing to do with the point of the show and nothing to do with anything. So, anyways, yeah, it's draining every time you log onto Twitter and see it or YouTube and see it. Yeah, that's why, like, you know, it's war games. The only way to win is not to play, you know? I mean, that's throw down your lightsaber and just fucking let stupid be stupid, you know? And you know, like my take is the culture war was lost a long time ago for those guys. And they're just crying about it today. And then the other people are pandering to the people who say it's good, so that way they seem like they're right and they're moral and they're just, but really they're fucking idiots behind a keyboard that have absolutely nothing to do with real life at all. And if you want to really make change, you need to get into politics at the community level and not be on fucking Twitter 12 hours a day. That's just where it's at, you know? There's no merch now. Yeah, this show, honestly, outside of lightsabers and stuff like that, didn't seem like there would be very merch heavy on this one. I don't see this one as a huge opportunity for that stuff, but you know, it is what it is. So is this show good enough to start a new era off of? Will it start new movies and theme park rides and merch? Doubt it. I doubt it. I would say it's not far enough away to feel like something new. One thing that struck me when I was watching it was like when I saw like the Jedi, like when they're in the temple, they're wearing like their white formal robes. When they go out, they kind of change slightly the costumes. And like one part, like Saul has like some armor on his like hands and stuff like that, but it was like subtly done. I definitely, as I was looking at that, I was like, wow, this does kind of transform into the Old Republic stuff. If you wanted it to, I could see designing into that. And in a way where I was more convinced that it could work more than ever. But anyways, I think I'm gonna call it a night here. I like the show. Like I said, I give it a B+ on my first watch. We'll come back and we'll talk about it pretty soon. We'll see. You know, I'm gonna watch it again from the comfort of my home, and there were things that I couldn't really hear very well in my theater that I really want to hear, you know, at home and with subtitles on if I need it. I would even suggest maybe watching the show with subtitles on. He's not like Saul's not that hard to understand. You could understand him pretty easily, but it's more of like when he says certain planet names and stuff, you know. And they did put the little title cards on, like when you go to Coruscant, it says Coruscant, you know, so they do help you along in that way and on with the New Worlds, but you know, so no, there's no Jar Jar, Rob. There's no Jar Jar. Sorry, dude. But yeah, thank you guys. And Skywalker, you know, thanks for being a channel member. Thanks for Rob being a channel member and everybody who's a channel member, Thrawn. And Skywalker's Academy, and anybody else who I'm forgetting, because my chat, I'm looking through the chat right now, and I think that's all of you guys tonight. But yeah, but thanks to everybody. We'll be back to talk about the show this week and to, like, you know, break down the episode some more. I'm curious to see what Rob thinks. I hope Rob likes it, but I don't know if he's going to. I think it's going to be all on the intrigue, so we'll let you know soon, and I'll try to let you guys know when we're going to do the episode if we could figure that out. So, and yeah, but anyways, leave a comment, like the video, and if you have anything else that you wanted to hear us talk about, either leave the comment and I'll respond to you, or we'll try to hit it on the next episode. Okay, and thanks everybody, and I'll see everybody probably tomorrow, I think.